Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualise, my Asexual Life. This is the place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live, like now, or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video content useful, helpful, insightful in any way, shape, or form, or you just want to give this channel some love. I always appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Well, in a moment, we're going to be reviewing a film called Unknown. But first, if you don't know who I am Sandra Burmy, author of this awesome Asexual Perspectives 47 Asexual Stories book. These are real life asexual stories. The link below is down. The link is down below in the description, and also I'm the author of Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook, which is an autobiographical account of how to have less pain, more energy, and feel happier if you've got fibro, but it applies to even if you don't have fibro as well. Currently, this book's got about 7 5-star reviews, so it's doing really well on Amazon. Check it out in the links below. So, yes, this film with Liam Neeson, Unknown. Now, I'd never seen this film before. I didn't know what to expect. It's a film I didn't see on the cinema. And it looked really good. It's a psychological thriller. It's actually a 15. Now, you know, a lot of the films I watched that have got no sex in them are PG and certificate 12. So, first of all, if you didn't know what asexuality is, it's a sexual orientation that's a lack of sexual attraction. I'm asexual. With me specifically, I am naked repulsed. I don't like sex. I don't need to see that in movies. For me, a lot of the time, it just spoils the movie, right? So, first of all, there is some scenes in this of a sexual nature, although it doesn't actually say this on the back. It says suitable for 15 or over. It doesn't say it's got any sex scenes in it. Now, you don't actually, it's very clever the way it's done with the camera angles, because the camera angles don't actually show them having sex, as it doesn't show their naked bodies like having sex. It shows like him meant to have sex with his wife in the shower and her making these orgasmic face movements, but when the camera panned down, you could just see like bare chest with her from like the boobs upwards, not including the boobs, if you know what I mean, from what the angle. I mean, I don't try not to pay attention to too much of that stuff, but you know, because I'm naked repulsed. But yeah, so basically the camera was from her chest upwards, you know, like above her boobs. That's what I'm trying to say. But obviously it was meant to be them having sex, and they do have some scenes, I think, of them in bed together at the beginning, but it's not, it's ones that you don't actually see the sex, if you know what I mean. You're not seeing the naked body and them, you know, like with their bodies naked basically. So, you know, it does have sex in it, although it's no sex in the sense that it hasn't actually got it explicitly seen. That's what I'm trying to say. But yes, if you are really not liking any sexual stuff whatsoever and you get squeamish at even, you know, the facial movements of orgasm, this probably wouldn't be great from that aspect. However, this movie I thought was incredible. I absolutely loved it, to be honest. The whole plot, the whole storyline was sensational, right? It's a psychological thriller. Now, if you didn't know about me, I like Disney, Pixar movies, but I also love action movies, superhero, and I love psychological thrillers. Now, I have to be very careful with psychological thrillers because some of them border on horror, and I personally don't like horror. I know a lot of asexuals love horror, but I don't. My hair's still a bit wet tonight, by the way. So I just got out of the shower not long ago. But yes, yes. So going back to this, yeah, so I do like watching psychological thrillers, but obviously you've got to be careful what psychological thrillers you get, as they can affect your mind. And this movie here, Unknown, is all about identity, right? So I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to tell you the whole thing because it's a psychological thriller and it would spoil it. It's one of those movies where you never know what's real and what's not. I love those type of movies, even though they can drive you insane at the same time. So Liam Neeson plays this guy who is called Dr. Martin Harris. So the movie starts off with Dr. Martin Harris, played by Liam Neeson, is with his wife, or so you believe. He's with his wife, and so yeah, so basically they're meant to be like having a sexual relationship, meant to be very like into each other. Everything's supposed to look like the perfect relationship, the way they are with each other, all the kissing, all the sex that people think they need for a perfect relationship, and just the way they come across together, always happy, always like in love, they're meant to be, and all the rest of it, right? So anyway, what happens is Dr. Martin Harris is supposed to be, which is played by Liam Neeson. He is going to this like conference convention type thing where he is a guest speaker, and it's a biology thing. So they got various people there. So he's a doctor, like a scientist type doctor, rather than a medical doctor. And it's like a biochemical, it's like a biology type of thing, basically. And anyway, and one of the people that's going there, he's got this, which you find out as the film goes on, one of the main parts of the storyline, which I won't say how it's connected, is this guy has found, not him, but another guy has found this crop of corn, a way of harvesting corn that you don't need any soil or anything like that for, so you can basically harvest it all over the world, and it's sustainable without needing earth and everything like that, right? So that's kind of like towards the end of the movie. That's a major storyline, which you think, what the hell's that got to do with anything? But this is interwoven with his storyline. So basically, with him, so it looks like the perfect relationship, and then he goes with his wife to Berlin, and when he goes to Berlin, they book into a hotel, but the problem is, when he got in the taxi, he left his briefcase behind with his documents, which had his ID, it had his passport in, right? So he gets to the hotel, and he doesn't have any ID on him. And he realises that he left it on the luggage stand, when the luggage was put into the taxi rank. So he has to get a taxi and go back to where he left the luggage to pick his briefcase up, which has got his passport in it, because the hotel won't allow him in there. Now, his wife was meant to be they were meant to be in a certain suite. Housing suite or something, I can't remember. I think it begins with H. Anyway, they're supposed to be in the suite together, and when she's in the hotel on her own, she doesn't even realise he's gone in the taxi, because he doesn't say, he just disappears, and she sees him go in the taxi, right? So she doesn't know what's going on, but they say, there's been a change of plan, madam, you're not in that suite anymore. So anyway, so Liam goes in the taxi to try and retrieve his briefcase, and as he does so, he gets in this taxi with this woman, and there's an accident. And when he's in the taxi with this woman, he ends up, as you can see there, he ends up going into the river with the woman taxi driver, and she literally manages to get out of the taxi and get him out of the taxi, but he's hit his head and he ends up in a coma for 4 days, and he cannot remember who he is or his previous life, or can he? So how he remembers the version of events might not be how it actually is. I don't want to give the movie away, it's just so thrilling. It says Bourne meets Hitchcock, and I have to say it's a very, very, very interesting movie, because you never know what's reality or not, and I don't want to spoil it because there's like a huge twist at the end, but basically things are never how they seem, and all through the movie you don't know who's real, who isn't, who's bad, who's good, really, a lot of the time. And you don't know so basically when he comes out of this coma, he says he's Dr. Martin Harris, but when he catches up with his wife again, his wife has got another person in the place of him as her husband, pretending to be her husband. And she says she doesn't recognise him. And so he's without a passport, he's got no ID on him, and his wife is saying publicly she doesn't recognise him. And, and another man's taken his place. And eventually he finds a woman who was the taxi driver who pulled him out the river. And, he said that about his identity, that, that he doesn't know what's real or not anymore. And, and anyway, he has the help of this female taxi driver. But there ends up being lots of assassins trying to kill him. They're trying to kill him. So this woman's the taxi driver woman who saved his life ends up being in trouble, and they end up both trying to run away and stop being killed by these assassins. And he's not sure why these assassins are trying to kill him, because he doesn't understand. He understands that his wife is no longer saying that he's her husband, that a guy's took his place, that people are pretending they don't know him, even the people at the conference that he's meant to be speaking at, they're like acting like they don't know him, and he only spoke to certain people on the phone. So this guy who's an imposter, who's basically pretending to be him, the husband to his wife, then he says exactly the same things as Liam does as a doctor, but you end up with two people posing as Dr. Martin Harris, Liam, and this other guy who's the imposter, right? And so this other guy knows the same things about Liam, who plays Dr. Harris. The other guy's playing Dr. Harris. It gets very confusing after a while. He knows the same things. They have like the same family history, and he knows everything about him, and he doesn't understand what's going on. So yeah, the film has really major car chases in it. Obviously, it has it has identity and a feeling of delusion and illusion in it, and it's just really, really good movie. I really liked it. I would watch it again, even though it's got some sex scenes in it, but you can't, like I said, as far as I remember, but I don't watch these things intently like that. I do watch them intently from the storyline, but when it comes to like bodies, I'm kind of like looking up at the ceiling a bit. But there is bits of sexual stuff happening, and they're meant to be having sex in certain scenes. Just that I don't think I saw anything. I don't think they were naked, apart from like little bits of flesh on the neck and stuff like that. So yes, I would recommend seeing this. You have to understand how intense it is and action-packed and thrill-orientated it is by watching it. I do not want to give it away, because if I start telling you what's really happening in it, then you are going to know the ending and it's going to be boring for you. So this is one of the movies where I'm not going to reveal the ending, and I'm not going to tell you too much about it, other than it's absolutely fascinating watch. And I really think that we struggle as a whole society about identity. Asexuals struggle with their identity because we struggle to be accepted for who we are. And some people struggle with their identity because they actually realise that they're not the same as everyone else, and they actually find out they are asexual. Some people resist being asexual because they don't want to believe they're different to everyone else. They don't want to believe that they don't want sex, but really they know they don't want it. So you've got some people who are asexual who love being asexual, like me. You've got some others that struggle in the highly sexualized world we live in to cope with being asexual, and to actually live into their identity is very difficult because they worry about what people say. They can't say it in public, and then obviously there's some people who realise they're asexual and then deny it because they don't want to believe that they're different to other people. Now, years ago, I actually had, I've still got my blog for over 10 years, Quirky Books blog, which that's my author imprint as well, Quirky Books, my publishing imprint, I should say. So, but I have a quirkybooks.wordpress.com blog for over 10 years now. And still is more popular than ever before now. And so, I use that to find my own writer's voice, to find my writing author identity, if you like. And during the course of my blogging time on there was actually the guy who was, he was in a band, I believe. He was a guitarist or something like that. He was in a band anyway. And he actually did some informative blog posts about sex. It wasn't perverted or glorifying sex. It was more educational, which I did appreciate. But when I read one of the posts, I said, that I don't associate sex with love, and he said, oh, it sounds like, I know I said something to him, and he put in a comment, it sounds like you're asexual. And then I didn't know what asexual was at the time. The fact it got the word sexual in it just made me cringe. And so I said, oh, I don't associate sex with love, and I just like kissing, that's all. And I never looked up the word asexual, never. I just thought it was weird, it's got the word sexual in it, I didn't want to know about it, and that was it. So I do understand people that come across asexual term, and some people might think, oh my gosh, that it's really difficult. I found it really difficult even when I did come into the asexual community in 2014, found out I was asexual. At first I'm like, oh my god, the word asexual got sexual in it. I couldn't even barely say the word. Now it just rolls off my tongue all the time in an inappropriate, in places where people might not want to hear it, but it just you know, I just happens to roll off the tongue. But I always promote asexuality. It's really important, you know. It's really important we get it recognised as a sexual orientation globally, so that no asexual has to live in fear of ridicule ever again. It's very important. So yeah, and you know, like I said, some people struggle with the identity, but I get that in the sense that I kind of like really brush that guy's words off, because I just thought, what the hell's the word asexual? Like, it's got the word sexual in it. I'm not sexual. So it's actually the word that put me off. And I never looked it up. Just imagine if I looked it up years ago, then I would have known about it. But maybe it just wasn't the right timing. I always think things happen in divine timing, that whatever happens happens for a reason. The reason will reveal itself to you later. You know, you might not know now what's happening to you. It might make no friggin' sense, but then later on it might all come clear. So maybe it just wouldn't have been a good time for me to accept it or know about it back then, because maybe I wasn't strong enough back then. And obviously I was always supposed to do this channel, but didn't realise it back then to help you out. So now I'm just so much stronger, and I'm crystal clear on who I am. And, you know, and I love helping asexuals so much. It just makes me super happy. So, yeah, I think, you know, this is definitely a film to watch. And, you know, I think we do a lot struggle with identity. I personally love to be my true, authentic self. I absolutely love it. I think I'm one of the most authentic people I personally know. I think a lot of people tend to sway what they're saying in order for the person in front of them to accept them, rather than being true to who they are. But you know, like, I still have moments of like, you know, where am I heading in terms of like career wise? Quite a lot I have that, you know, like, what do I want to do? And sometimes, you know, like, sometimes you feel like you haven't got any options much, and then other times you think about three different options at once, and you're like, oh great, which one do I do now? You know, and you know, it's kind of like that in life, isn't it? Sometimes I think the thing is with any type of thing in your life, you know, you don't know what's going to happen to you, and every single time you make a decision, it can lead to a different outcome. And I think that's kind of like strange but good at the same time. It's a bit scary, you know, like, which way do you turn, which way do you go? And it's like, sometimes we just have the power of so many decisions, and it can confuse us. So we've just got to go really with our heart, but with a practical mindset at the same time, you know. So I'm currently working on the Asexual Guide to Sex book again. I think that'll help so many people. The book is incredible. It's, you know, I'm writing my bit now, and it's one of the hardest bits of the book for me personally, obviously, because, you know, I'm revealing a lot about myself that I haven't revealed in my previous Asexual Perspectives book, some of which I have, but I'm really getting into intimate, explicit details. And obviously I'm a personally sex repulsed asexual. For me, so some of it I have to have a break from myself, because it's like I need to talk about the stuff explicitly to make sure there's no ambiguity. The Asexual Guide to Sex is gotta be clear, unambiguous, because I'm helping a lot of people who have never had sex before to decide whether they might want to try it or not, if they're even thinking about trying it. Obviously, for asexuals who don't want sex, do not have it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, for the people that consider it, do not have sex until you've got the Asexual Guide to Sex book. I mean, it's a book I really wished I'd had when I was 16 years old and pressured into having sex for the first time. It wasn't a pleasant experience being pressured, but the experience itself wasn't horrible. So yeah, I'll be revealing about that. And so yeah, it's just like, you know, I think the book, The Asexual Guide to Sex, will help people with their identity as well, because it'll bring in more clarity about what type of things they might want to try sexually or not. Because asexuality is a lack of sexual attraction. It's not necessarily lack of action, but it could be, you know. So some asexuals will participate in sex or do sexual acts or do sexual things, or some asexuals will do a lot of touching. For them that's sensual, but for a heterosexual, for example, person, or any type of sexual person, it'll be a sexual experience. So we have to understand that if an asexual and sexual person come together, they're speaking different languages a lot of the time, and they think differently about things, you know. And I'm just so proud to be taking part in this book. So the bits that I'm working on at the moment are hard for me, some of them, because I've got to do the explicit stuff. And being personally sex repulsed and trying to do that is kind of difficult, you know, because I have to put the book first, my people who are reading it first, but I also have to have like breaks from like too much of that stuff sometimes, you know, and think, yeah, I just want to cuddle my cuddly toys now. So, but you know, I'm very aware that a lot of people's lives are relying on this book, and you know, because to me, like, if you're having sex, it's one of the most physical and emotional things you can ever do in your life, biggest decisions of your life, and there's a lot of safety aspects that need to be taken into consideration. And you know, it's your whole body, if you're having sexual intercourse, is with another person as well. They've got to look after it as well, you know. And if you get the wrong person, it can be abused, you know. So it's very, very important that you get the right person for you in the first place, you know. It's very important. And so I just think this book is got to be done correctly. That's why it's taken me so long. June 2019 I started. It's 2021 now. But it's very important that I give it the final finish off that it needs, and I've still got some quite a bit of work to do on it. So I'm busy doing that at the moment. And yeah, I just believe everything happens for a reason in life. And you know, sometimes we find more and more about our identity through helping others to learn about them. You know, the Asexual Guide to Sex book for me is like, it's like my sexual history out in the world. It's going to be, and it's kind of like weird. It's because I've got to go back to that time when I was doing all that stuff, and it's kind of like weird, and it is kind of like, you know, on the theme of identity, it's kind of weird because I'm looking at my identity, what it was back then, in terms of what I did sexually, what I didn't mind doing sexually, you know, past. If I look at that Sandra compared to the Sandra I know now, it's kind of strange that I'm in some ways but on the others, because I've never really liked sex. I've never really been into it. I didn't need it in the first place, right? I had it because I thought I had to as part of a normal relationship. But if we think about me now, it's kind of like I really don't want to do any sex stuff. I don't want to do any sexual acts. I've kind of gone completely the opposite way. And sometimes I think it would be easier if I didn't mind doing some sexual stuff, but I'm really not into that, you know. I'm just into the teenager style. I like guys in their 20s, teenager style relationship. And you know, the kissing, the cuddling, the walking under the moonlight and the stars, holding hands, you know, going to movies, out to the cinema for meals together, kissing and cuddling. None of the genital sex stuff, you know. Sitting on each other's laps, I don't mind all that type of thing, because me, that's like teenager, sweet, fun stuff, you know. But it's very difficult to get that in a relationship these days, you know. It's kind of like I'm very, very into romance and kissing so much. I just love romance and kissing, but just don't want the sex. And so, you know, it's very difficult to get a match with me romantically, because it's like not many guys are into just kissing alone, and so that's very tough, you know. So, but you know, it's kind of weird looking back on the Asexual Guide to Sex. I think it's good for me to do these books, you know. The Asexual Perspectives got some of the stuff out of my past that was kind of like traumatic in a way, that's kind of like, you know, but I dealt with it at the time fine, really, the best I knew how. And then, you know, the Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook that I've done, that's an autobiographical account and helping people. And it's really entertaining read as well. So I'm really happy that's gone so well, and I can help people with fibromyalgia as well, you know. And that's autobiographical. And, you know, the Asexual Guide to Sex is going to be autobiographical, you know. And it's like, if I hadn't had all this experience in the past, some of which is really traumatic and really horrendous for me, I won't be able to help others now, you know. So I believe that everything happens for a reason. And even all the bullying, all the abuse I had, you know, it still means that I can put all that experience to good use to help other people, to prevent them from making the same mistakes or being in the same situations that I was, you know. So sometimes we don't know why what's happening to us. It's happening to us. It can feel very disorientating, very upsetting at certain points in our life. But all we have to remember is that this time shall pass, and that we can reclaim our identity, and we can create a new identity for ourselves at any point in time. however old or young you are, you know, and we have to remember this. You can reinvent yourself. You can change your clothes, you can change your hair, you can change where you live, you can change your job, you can change the people in your life and keep the people that are wonderful, obviously. And you know what I mean? We can reinvent ourselves. We can change our identity at any point in time. And I think that's something really, really worth thinking about, you know? And I do go through phases of thinking, you know, like this is what I want to do. And then I kind of like think, well, do I want to try this? Do I want to try that? You know? And so the world's your oyster, really. You know, I mean, for me, I don't have any ties because I'm single, you know? So, and sometimes I think, well, maybe I prefer the single life. Maybe I'm better at the single life than a serious committed relationship. But I always want a serious committed relationship, ultimately. There's sometimes I just, you know, at the moment we're in lockdown in the UK, I really miss going clubbing, kissing guys in clubs. Because I love kissing so much. And I love kissing younger foreign guys. And I don't want sex. So for me, that's a way of me getting my kissing needs met without having sex and be able to go home and just get on with my life. But I'm really missing that. And obviously, if you're in a serious, committed, monogamous relationship, you can't go around doing stuff like that. But then I hope to find a guy who loved going clubbing with me and who'd love kissing me on the dance floor and be just into me. That would be great. So I could still do my dancing. Because to me, dancing is very, very good for my body. And I wish I could do more of it right now. So yeah, I'm missing my clubs. I'm missing kissing guys. I'm missing that a lot. I mean, I'm craving it. So obviously it must be a very important thing in my life and for me, you know, and that's what I think lockdown helps with, you know, it helps you to have time to reflect on what's really important, you know, and you wouldn't think me kissing random guys in club was really important to me, but it actually really is, you know, because I'm craving that. I'm craving like wanting to kiss guys in the specific club I go to, wanting to have that type of music, wanting to do that type of dancing, wanting to be there, because the feeling I get from being there and doing that is just like not much other feeling in the world apart from writing and helping asexuals. Writing, helping asexuals, then going to my club and dancing in that order. Obviously seeing my friends as well is super important. So writing, asexuality, seeing my friends, clubbing. I miss my guinea pig as well, Angel. Love her to bits. But yeah, so you know, I think, you know, like lockdown gives us time to reflect. But you know, like I've noticed how much I really, really want to go out and just kiss and stuff. So maybe I'm better off staying single for at least the foreseeable future. I think so. Although I still look for a serious committed relationship, which is quite ironic. Sometimes I think maybe you shouldn't be going after a serious relationship, Sandra. But that's ultimately, I guess, what I want. So yeah. So it's very interesting, isn't it? Because like I said, we can change our identity at any point in time. Completely change our identity, you know. And I changed my identity really somewhat in 2012. So when I went to see Tony Robbins live on stage for the first time ever, and I freed myself of depression, that's when I did actually change my identity purposely quite a bit. Because, you know, I started my entrepreneurial journey. I literally you know, started to learn all about different businesses online. And I changed to be the teenager version of me that I wanted to always be. Like now I'm much more happier in my life. You know, I've got cuddly toys. I got like, you know, like I just got loads of like nice bright coloured stuff, cuddly toys, Disney stuff. You know, this is who I am. I just like being young. I don't like being like my birth certificate age at all. I'm really, really young and I love being that way. And I just want really to be able to be more and more like that every single day of my life. You know, I like having high octane energy. I like being the young version of me, you know? And I kind of really need to get more stuff in my life that's aligned with that, I think. You know, it's very important for me. Very important for me. But like I said, lockdown is a time to reflect on what you truly are, what you truly want, but you can reinvent your identity at any time, you know. So, you know, I'm kind of thinking, like, what would that look like for me? But obviously writing is like my hugest passion in my life. I just love to do more and more with my writing, especially for asexuals. But I want to write other books as well, you know, because I'm very specialised in dating and relationships. Thank you for that. Lots of love. So, you know, dating relationships, I want to help a lot more people with their dating relationships. You know, like I've bought a a course recently from a dating relationships person. And, you know, I went through their course, their video training course, but I know a lot of that stuff myself. So I now know that it just kind of reassures me that I've learnt so much in the dating and relationships world. I mean, I've been online dating now since 2014. So I've got like nearly 7 years experience now. March coming up next month. I think that's when I first started online dating, something like that. Actually, I tried online dating in 2012, only for a few months back then, eHarmony. That was before I realised it was asexual. But I said that I didn't like sex in my profile. I changed it because I was getting guys who wanted sex and then no one spoke to me. That was it. I'm like, there's not much point in carrying on paying for this, then, is there, if no one wants to speak to me because they all want sex? Oh, dear me. But anyway, yeah, so you can reinvent your identity at any point in time. You can change your mind about sex as well. You can have it and decide you don't want it. Or you can, like, you know, do the opposite, not have it and then decide you want it. So, you know, like, anyone can reinvent their identity at any time. And, you know, this really is what this film's about. Identity and how you can reinvent yourself and how, you know, what is your identity? It's a really good film. A really good film, you know. I really loved it. Liam Neeson is a very good actor in this as well. So, yes, the bonus footage is really good as well. I really liked it. But, yeah, it's very important that, you know, that you have this time to reflect on your identity and who you want to be. And you can just change your life at any single point in time, you know. At the moment, like tonight, I've been thinking, oh, I got like 3 different ideas. Like, which do I do? 4 different ideas. So sometimes I have this creative splurge where I literally, like, you know, go offline and I'm just like writing all these different ideas down. I love doing that because being a creative person, it just makes me feel good. So, you know, that's what I'd urge you to do. Oh, Liam! Oh, bless you. Hey, Sandra, great to see you. Beautiful. Oh, lots of love to you. I've been on this stream now for over half an hour. So I was talking about this movie and saying about it's all to do with identity, and I was talking about asexuality and how some people like being asexual and how other people like want to deny they're asexual because they want to deny they're different, and some other people struggle to be asexual in this highly sexualized world we live in. I've talked about the movie and then I moved on to asexuality, and then I was talking about identity with myself and how lockdown gives us an opportunity to find out what we want to do in life, and we can reinvent ourselves at any time. We can change our identity at any given moment that we want to, you know, because we can change houses, we can change, you know, where we live, we can change our jobs, we can change who we hang around with, we can change our homes around. So, but yeah, I was saying this film, it doesn't show sex, the full thing, but it does show. This isn't a completely no sex movie. It has sex in it, but it doesn't show the full sex. So basically the guy's in the shower with his wife and you see like her, you don't see her boobs, you see above her boobs naked, if you know what I mean. So her neck upwards. So yeah. So this is a 15. It doesn't say there's sex in there, but they are supposed to be doing sex, but you don't really see the nakedness stuff, which is good. But yeah, it's a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. A psychological thriller, but I haven't given the ending away or much away because it's just one of those movies that you really need to watch. But I do think, you know, like I was saying, I think a lot of people struggle with their identity in life. They struggle to know who they are. So I think, you know, like being in lockdown gives you a time to reflect on who you are and to get to know yourself and what you like, dislike, strengths, weaknesses, what you can work on, and, you know, like, don't be afraid to reinvent yourself, to change yourself at any given time. It doesn't matter what age you are. Like some people are like, oh, I'm 50 now. Oh, I'm 60 now. I'm like anyone can reinvent themselves or change their life at any single point in time. I've seen people who have changed their life. They completely turned it around for the better, actually. I mean, myself, I mean, I was depressed for years, you know. I was depressed for years. I had one bad day before Christmas. I haven't had a bad day like that since, like, in 8 years. I was shocked at myself, but I just have to forgive that. You know, it's just really difficult circumstances, and I'm like, had really bad thoughts for a day, and I'm like, oh my God, I haven't had this for like 8 years. What is going on? But luckily I journaled about it, and that helped me get out of it. And then one of my asexual friends messaged me, and everything was like a lot better after that. But you know, my mind went to a really dark place, and that doesn't usually happen for me. So yeah, but you know, it was one day in 8 years, and it's like it wasn't the whole day either. It was part of the day, not a whole day. So I'm glad about that. You know, it wasn't a whole day. So and I still, you know, like in those moments, it was bad, very bad, like worse than it was before in some ways because it's just planned and horrible. So, but glad you're better now, sweetheart. Thank you. Yeah, I'm still actually technically off work sick. But I'm not like that. Mind is not like that. But yeah, I'm still off work sick because I've still got ongoing health issues and stress at the moment. But I'm a lot better than what I was in the sense that, you know, I've been on this channel a lot more lately, which is good. And I'm off antibiotics at the moment, so that's good. But I've had like 3 infections, like 2 in December and 1 in January so far. So, and I've got to go for a ultrasound at the hospital next month as well. So yeah. So my health is like it's not as good as it could be, but it's better than it has been in some ways. But yeah, it's just like I know my health at the moment is a struggle, really. Yeah, because I woke up this morning, I had pelvic pain. You know, I'm like, oh no, not again, because I keep getting pelvic infections. It's just annoying. But yes, I don't believe I'll be like this forever. I believe things will get better. Things can only get better. I like that song, D-Ream. It's really good. But yes, so it's good that I keep my mind as sane as possible. Like sometimes because I'm quite stressed at the moment with stuff going on, then I sometimes cry in the mornings. And then I feel better. I guess the day goes on. Because I do have some stress going on, which I can't discuss really. But you know, everyone has stress in their life, but I have particularly stressful stuff going on at the moment, which I can't discuss publicly, unfortunately. So, but it just has an effect on my body quite a lot. So, yeah, but I try to stay positive and happy, and I kind of get like any upset out in the morning so I can get on with my day and be happier. And yeah, and I've been working on my book. Hope everything is okay with the ultrasound. Thank you, Liam. Yeah, I do too, because what I'm going for is not a great thing. So I'm hoping it's good as well. I'm hoping it comes out clear. I really do. That's the 16th of March. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to that at all. I'm not looking forward to that. It's an ultrasound on my pelvis, but I'm hoping it's clear. But I was in a lot of pain on one particular part of my pelvis, and they thought something really not good was there. So, but the pain after I had the antibiotics actually went in that area, in that specific area. So I'm thinking it was just an infection that had gone too far. So that's what I'm praying it was. So yeah. So, you know, it is a little bit concerning, but I'm trying not to worry about it because worrying just makes the whole thing worse and makes me more pain, you know. So I'm just thinking, yes, there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. It's all going to be clear. It's all going to be clear. It's just a procedure. It's all going to be clear. All going to be clear. And just, you know, it's not good because I have anxiety and I'm having to go to the hospital and, you know, like, you know, they put something in the, you know, they put these pamphlets in and it just makes you kind of like worried. It's like, don't worry, Sandra, because I can't, you know, this is the type of thing that I need to not worry about because it'll just make the thing worse. Oh, it's 16th of March. Thank you. I'll be thinking about you on that day. Thank you. Lots of love, Liam. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. Yeah. So I've just gotta try and be happy that day. I've got to try and make myself happy. Probably take my music with me to the hospital because I've got to be there early. And yeah, I've got to drink lots of water. And yeah, it's you know, it's a little bit hard, but I'm just hoping, you know, like the trouble is with stress, it really affects my body badly. But I'm hoping it's only stress, and that once eventually I get rid of the stress one way or the other, which I can't talk about the main stress stuff at the moment that's going on, but once I get rid of the stress one way or the other and everything's sorted out, then, you know, then things will be a lot better for me, no doubt, you know. But I always think from the downs comes the ups, from the ups comes the downs. So I guess I had quite a good run of ups. So, you know, sometimes life goes down again and you've just got to know the ups are on their way. The ups are on the way. Anyway, on that note, I think I'm going to love you and leave you for now. Thank you so much, Liam, for your kind wishes. I definitely recommend seeing Unknown, especially if it's something like identity is something that, you know, that is a theme that you're very interested in. I think it's a really good movie. I did like it. I would watch it again. And it's very interesting. I'm sure it's the type of movie that if you watch it again, you pick up on things you never picked up on before in the first place, if you know what I mean. But the ending is a very big twist. Well, there's a couple of big twists at the end that you don't usually see coming. Well, you don't see it coming throughout most of the movie. So anyway, I love you and leave you for now. Thank you, Liam, for being here. Lots of love to you. I appreciate you. I really do. And I'll see you on the next video or live stream. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit that great big bell icon so you get notified every time I go live. Right now, I'll post a new video. And I love you. Oh, bye-bye, Sandra. Love you. Miss you. Love you. Miss you too. Lots of love. Take care. I'll see you on the next video live stream. Bye.